if I'm not talking to a top visionary on planet or someone who will do whatever it takes to become that person, I get bored very quickly. And for 20 years, I was an entrepreneur who happened to be a journalist. So just interviewed cool people changing the world, and now owning a global PR firm and global connectivity platform. I'm talking to and connecting cool people changing the world. So none of that's ever changed. I think that's the message people like us want. They just don't know how to do it because they're the most damaged people with the best coping skills, and they've used those coping skills to create all this stuff and then torch the meaning during that process.
And the solution is finding Babs? Is that the solution for some of these people?
Wow, is that a good, that is such a good, wow, that was a great simplification. I don't usually stop like that, but that was really good. So there's two reasons why that was good. One,
FONZI, what's up? You had a good weekend?
Just as one of our team members said, he's like, I need a weekend for my weekend. That was one of those weekends. It was crazy this weekend, but it was great.
I know. Your girlfriend's family is opening a new donut shop, and it was Mother's Day donut shop. Biggest day ever.
One of their biggest days ever. I was there at 5:30 for moral support to my girlfriend, and an hour later, I was planning on doing all this work for us. And
were you back in the kitchen?
Yeah. She's like, hey, we need your help. I was like, let's do it. Just put on the shirt, step up in the game, and just made donuts for like 8 hours.
Yes. With that said, I think we have an incredible episode today, and let's get rolling.
We've got some fresh.
Hey, I'm Luis,
and this is Luis,
and welcome to the Content is Profit podcast.
In here, you're gonna get the insights, accountability, and drive to create consistently and increase revenue.
You'll hear from top entrepreneurs, creators, and anything and everything you need to know about content. All this while having a good time.
The goal of this podcast is simple: entertain, educate, and turn your content into profit.
That is right, everybody. Welcome back, FONZI.
Tell me.
Do you follow at BIZBROS on your social media accounts?
Of course I do.
Oh boy, let's go. And if you're listening and you do not follow those accounts, let us know. Don't let us know. Go ahead and follow, and then let me know that you follow the account. Because we like to share the love.
That's a big ask right there, guys. But
hey, we have people that reach out.
This is my personal ask. If you enjoyed today's episode and today's guest help you move one step closer towards your goal, please don't forget to share it, because you might be doing the same exact thing for somebody else. And don't forget to leave a 5-star review.
That's right. FONZI, what are we talking about today?
Guys, today we are talking about, I lost the headline here, building an epic life while expanding your business reach. And just like we debriefed our guest, he is a very interesting personality. So this conversation might go 180 from that headline that we just said, but I'm extremely excited. And just so you know, we'll make sure that we bring back and then the headline on the episode title.
What are you talking about? Let's just start this conversation, FONZI. Come on. But like FONZI said today, we have a very incredible and super interesting guest.
He's currently building an epic PR firm and connecting with some of the biggest visionaries.
He's a Wall Street Journal best-selling author, serendipitous meeting creator, and much more.
Please welcome founder of BR Epic and co-host of 3 Guys with Epic Lives, Justin Breen. What's up, Justin?
Oh, hello.
He's bringing the dance moves and everything. I love it.
That was not. Yeah, I'm a low implementer, so that's as good as it's getting.
You should see FONZI's dance moves. Not that good.
Better than mine. Yeah, my kids are 10 and 8, our sons, and they're really good at the gritty, and I try it, and it's just an epic fail every time.
That's funny. I was coaching this soccer team, and all the kids were obsessed with that dance step, and I couldn't do it. I was like, how do you do this? I don't know if it was a generational thing or what, but couldn't do that.
Yeah. I'm definitely the master of the gritty. Just saying.
Yeah. All right.
Well, we all have our skills.
There we go.
I stay in mine and let others do theirs.
That is
Congrats
true.
on being able to do the gritty better than us.
That's awesome. Justin, look, this is a note that I typed here while I was, listening to the podcast that you sent from other people, kind of like checking your social medias. I can see this conversation going 2 different ways. Talking about BR Epic and everything, PR, media, and also unpacking you as an entrepreneur, because you are such an interesting character, right? And something that really caught my attention was one of the first messages when Ethan introduced us was, hey, have you take this test? And then you send me the link, right? And I was like, wow, that is extremely interesting. And pretty much every single piece of information that I heard online, you're talking about that test as well. So I'm pretty curious, like, what's it about that test that you're always kind of like putting in the forefront to get to know people at a deeper level?
Oh.
And what test is that actually?
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, what's the actual test? What are you talking about? So I don't care what someone's personality is. I don't care what anyone does. It's totally meaningless to me. I want to know who someone is and if they're actually going to do something. And the test is Kolbe, Kolbe, the A index. Takes 20 minutes, $55, and it measures how brains take action. How people take action. And we only partner with visionaries, so not humans, not business owners, not consultants, just pure visionaries. And the overwhelming majority, certainly not all, but the overwhelming majority of visionaries are very high quick start, very low follow through. So think ADHD, diagnosed or undiagnosed, not a disorder. It's a sign of genius mislabeled by humans, but they're all over the place, but they're the ones that actually create things that change the world. So I only like to talk to visionaries, otherwise I get bored. So having their Kolbe is a good way of identifying them very quickly.
That's
interesting.
Awesome. Where when did that start? Did this process start very early, right? Because on our side, when we first started the podcast, is obviously for us that was execution. We started having these conversations, and we're like, we started having conversations with more interesting people than others, and we're like, we want to go this way, but we never really considered this, right? Like, how did that start, and what has been the result of having that process in place?
Well, I appreciate your background on that and you wanting to talk to more interesting people. If I'm not talking to a top visionary on planet or someone who will do whatever it takes to become that person, I get bored very quickly, like very, very quickly. And for 20 years, I was an entrepreneur who happened to be a journalist. So just interviewed cool people changing the world, and now owning a global PR firm and global connectivity platform. I'm talking to and connecting cool people changing the world. So none of that's ever changed. But the finding out about Kolbe started in 2019 when I joined an entrepreneurial group called Strategic Coach. One of the top, if not the top, entrepreneurial groups in the world. I'm very grateful to be in that. And the name tag in that is someone's name, the industry they're in, not the name of their company, is because nobody cares what the name of your company is. But and then your Kolbe score. So you immediately know who you're talking to. And then in 6 years as an entrepreneur, I have zero business background. I still don't know what an S corp is. I don't that stuff doesn't interest me at all. Our firms have partnered with two folks, only two that I know of, whose quick start, that's one of the scores in Kolbe, whose quick start is less than a 7. 2. So I've just stopped talking to lower quick starts after one conversation because they don't take action. Well, they don't do anything. So
interesting.
It's a pointless conversation.
Yeah. So I was listening to one of your latest episodes on your podcast, right? And you guys were talking about that number, quick start and follow through, right? What are the other two numbers? Can you break down these numbers for us so people have an idea of what they can learn about themselves if they do take this test?
Yep. Okay. So just as background, how my brain works is, so again, most of my days talking to the world's top visionaries. So not humans, not business owners, not consultants, just pure visionaries. And I hear blah, 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 and then simplify into pattern. So blah, 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 simplify, answer, blah, 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 simplify. So everything I say it'll be like a simplified pattern for decades of talking to top people on planet who have changed the world and will change the world. Okay. So just that is context. The overwhelming majority of visionaries, again, there are exceptions, but overwhelming majority of visionaries are high quick start, low follow through. So think ADHD, diagnosed or undiagnosed, all over the place, shiny object, shiny object, shiny object, shiny object, shiny object, shiny. And if they don't hire 1 million people, disaster, because nothing would get done, nothing would get executed. I have high quick start and high follow through. That's very rare. Say it, do it. Say it, do it. Say it, do it. Hit the gas, pump the brakes. Hit the gas, pump the brakes. The other two things in Colby are fact finder, which I'm also incredibly high in. That's also incredibly rare to be high fact finder, high quick start, high follow through. That's almost it's like full unicorn. And then the fourth one is implementer, which you saw me try to dance. It didn't go well. Implementer in this case is using your hands, kicking the tires before doing something, building something physically.
Yeah.
I'm a one is the lowest. I'm a one. If there was a 0 or negative, I'd be a negative in that. So my score is 8, 6, 7, 1. 8 fact finder, 10 is the highest. So that's really high. 6 follow through. 6 is astronomically high for a visionary. Most of the people I talk to are 1, 2, or 3 follow throughs. 7 quick start, which is just right on the border of visionary. Most of the people I talk to are 8, 9, and 10 quick starts, and then 1 implementer. In entrepreneur world, that doesn't matter as much.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I'm going in my head as you describe this, right? Like obviously we live in the content world and we work with companies that need to hire for a specific position on the content side of things, right? And they have their personality, who is the visionary, is going on the mission, right? Is changing the world, is leading the company. And then you sometimes
humans. They have humans.
Exactly. And then you see, part of their team or the reasons of why they haven't been able to grab some traction on the production side or implementing that vision on the content side specifically. And then that triggers into the business side. Now, I'm very interested to kind of run all these teams through this test, right? Because they're like, well, we might need this specific person in this position.
For everything. No. So, okay, for everything. So again, my brain simplifies everything to patterns. So people like me, not always, but usually marry stabilizing human. So what is a stabilizing human? That is low quick start, high follow through. Okay. So they follow through. And again, so like I always ask people like us, so is your spouse a social worker, a teacher, a nurse? My wife's a pediatrician, an engineer, a lawyer, a human.
Yeah.
Because imagine marrying yourself, probably a bad idea. Now that does happen. It does. But most of the time, people like us marry stabilizing humans. And then our two sons who are 10 and 8, they're both high quick start, low follow through maniac visionaries. So, and they're 10 and 8. We've already given them that test.
That's so interesting. I get, as you're explaining that, I'm envisioning my girlfriend. I'm like, yep, she is definitely balancing everything, right?
Same with my wife.
Because her family too. Her family is very entrepreneurial, right? We were talking about they are opening some donut shops, coffee shops all over town, and they're like opening 5 in less than a year, right?
Yeah,
and
that's a maniac high quick start, low follow.
Yeah, so super interesting. And look at this. I'm actually looking at the conversation on LinkedIn that we were having when we got introduced by Ethan. And you said to me, I'm guessing you're a 5'3", A2. And I'm so curious. Curious to know what made you think that. Like, I'm sure you went to my profile or something, right? Like, what made you think I'm a 5'3", A2?
Well, again, what happens is the overwhelming majority of the people I talk to, Ethan's actually an exception. He's one of the two folks in 6 years. He's less than a 7 quick start. So which is interesting. But when 95% of the people I talk to are 7, 8, 9, 10 quick starts, and they have 3, 2, 1 follow through.
Yeah.
And then in this world, the content marketing, whatever this world, I don't even know what this world is called. Whatever you want to call it, overwhelming majority are 8, 9, 10 quick starts with 3, 2, 1 follow throughs.
Yes.
So that's why I guess that.
Educated guess. I love it. Something
right
before, because I feel like I'm taking over here. You want to say
Justin,
anything?
there's a section in the podcast that's called Fonzie Hugs the Mic, and then that's when I don't speak, so it becomes a Fonzie solo episode. No, I'm kidding. I think like this is super interesting, right? And I think it helps. It's a really interesting tool that helps people figure out their next path, right? Like you said, like in this industry, right? We deal with a lot of people that want to start a podcasting platform. They want to start publishing. They want to do that. And then the follow through, it's usually when you see. Exactly. And I remember we ran a challenge a couple years back called the 45 Live. And the whole premise was, let's like jumpstart your publishing online. And it was 45 days straight of Facebook Lives, right? So the roadmap was 5 minutes on a Facebook Live, talk about something that happened today, and then do that. And the overwhelming majority failed after day 10, right? Like day 10 is like that first hump. And and it's pretty interesting, right, to me, where, okay, that to adapt your style publishing, right? And if we know that every single company today needs to put content out there, their message out there, if we want to impact the world, I think this is a key thing that we need to understand about ourselves and our team, so we can assign the right roles and assign the right cadences to whatever is coming up next. So to me, this is super interesting to be able to pinpoint at this level, you know, hey, do I have the right people under me? Am I the right person to actually put the message out there, right? Which is interesting.
No, they're not.
Yeah, exactly.
No, the visionary. No. Why would you do that? So again, I appreciate you saying all this. The people I talk to have already learned this. They don't. No. So like, I don't talk to small business owners, humans, consultants. Only people changing the world, or the ones who will do whatever it takes and then they're all in their, almost all of them are in their zone of genius. So they and it's different, because most people think it's arrogant, but it's actually just confidence. So they just do what they like to do and what they're good at, and then they hire someone else to do it, or they just don't do it. I mean, so it eliminates all this nonsensical gimmicks and things that most people are living in, and I just ignore it. I just focus on providing value for top people on planet, and then people like Ethan, who, by the way, is an incredible PR partner, and then he introduces me to people like you. So, I mean, I haven't done anything outbound or anything like that in years. Yeah. One, because it annoys me. Two, because I just like providing value to top people, and they provide value to me because they want to do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you mentioned in one of the conversations I heard that you only partner with people with these three attributes: abundance, visionary, and investment. Right?
Right.
Was that criteria there since 2018? I think is when you launched your business, 2017. 2017, right? So that was like the end of your journalism career, and then you transitioned into your own thing. Was that criteria there, or you learned that throughout experience?
Tremendous. Yeah, tremendous. Good context in that. So you're either born top entrepreneur on planet, or you're not. I mean, most people I think would choose this life, but they don't, they're not born, they don't have the brain or mindset or the IQ or the EQ. They're just not, they're not equipped. They don't have because I think most people would choose this life. They're just not, and that's fine. That's fine. So I was always this person, and then spent most of my life talking to people who had no idea what I was talking about. And then certainly when starting first business, I was still talking to small business owners and employees and consultants, and they had no idea what I was talking about. And then just started making bigger investments into smaller rooms, but the people in those rooms were making bigger impacts. So, higher investment networking groups and rooms. And then I'm like, oh, finally, here's people actually not only understand what I'm talking about, but I can be the dumbest person in the room, which is that's where I want to be, the dumbest person in the room, not the smartest. Yeah. You can't really learn anything if you're the smartest. So I just keep making bigger investments. But no, I was always this person and talking like this, but people like me are usually aliens within their own family, community, and vertical. The only people that understand us are top entrepreneurs on planet. But I was always talking like this. It's just finally people, found the right people.
Yeah.
I'm curious, right? Because somebody listening to this now, or it could be like, I really want that visionary, right? And maybe
nope. That's
not a thing. That's not an option.
Nope. That's what separates. So you just answered your own. That's what separates visionaries from everyone else. There are no, I really want, but I won't do. Visionary would never think like that.
It's right? It's like, this is.
That's what so that's, you just answered what I said before. Most people would want to do this, but they're not like this. Anyone who says that wouldn't be this. They wouldn't. They just wouldn't.
Interesting. I love this, right? Because we get a lot of that, right? Like when maybe
not in my world. That's my point. I ignore that world. No time for that. Why would you talk to someone like that?
What
It just takes time away from you and your family. Waste of time.
where in your life do you actually recognize those two worlds, right? Because I mean, we've been in.
But before I was born. Yeah.
Were you
You're
ever
born like this? You're not.
Were you ever in a room where you sat and you were like, "This is not where I want to be," and walked out?
Most of my life.
Yeah.
Oh, and where it worked out?
No. You walked out of that room. You're like, you recognize that pattern, right? And be like, this is not where I want to be. This is not serving my purpose. I'm going to walk out and I'm going to go find the place where I need to be.
Okay. Great question. So Earl Nightingale, the OG of motivational, you type it in, Earl Nightingale, he's the OG, but success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. So just keep progressing, realization, worthy ideal. My worthy ideal is to be connecting superhero for every visionary who shares their stories with the world. So I kept talking like this, never stopped talking like this, even if it was the wrong room. But what happened was I was in the wrong room and talking to someone who had no idea what I was talking about, but he's like, "Oh, the owner of my company does. Can I introduce you to him?" Like, okay. So I had a meeting with him. His name's Gary Claiborne. He's like Rain Man. He's like Rain Man with financial numbers. And he's like, "You need to get out of that room immediately and join Strategic Coach." So I'm like, okay, fine. So I wrote the check. So no, I didn't walk out of the room, but the room walked out on me because they told me the right room to be in, because success is the progressive realization of worthy ideal. But someone who says, I want this, but I'm not getting it. No. Wrong answer. You just keep doing it, because success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal.
Yeah. It reminds me of, are you familiar with Alex Charfen? Have you met him? Alex Charfen?
No.
No? All right. That's somebody we need to introduce you. We had him on the podcast early on, and he talks a lot about entrepreneurship, and he says that...
Can I say something real quick?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's my whole life. What you just did, and I'm very grateful for that. I talk like this, and then someone like you is like, "You need to meet this person."
This is the person that, yeah.
Nothing outbound. Nothing.
I love it.
That's my entire life right there. And talk to me is meaningless without action. So thank you for that. Thank you for that introduction. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And see a high, quick start, low follow through maniac?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah. Okay, great, perfect.
So he says entrepreneurs are like the new age hunters, right? Like they go
100%.
out and they just, they find their meal. But also he says they live in the future. What is it that they want to do? And then they come back in the present and they make it happen.
So that's one. That's a good intro. He's at least an 8 quick start. Does he have a family?
Oh yeah, he loves his family too. Very big on family.
He married a human?
Not sure. We don't know his wife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll have to. He probably did. But so one of my new favorite books, and have become very good friends with him, the author, very quickly, is Driven. Dr. Douglas Brackman. He's a genius. He writes about the ADHD brain. He's a genius. I was on his show. And again, he's become very good friends very quickly, because people like that really like me, and I really like people like that. But so he has at IamDriven.com. There's a free 5-minute assessment, and then the typical human brain is this small little gray circle. That's the human brain, and then the typical driven brain is a giant red circle around it. And then I sent him mine, and he was genuinely confused. Like, he was in a good way, because like my intuition is like off the charts, but I'm actually less bored than a regular human, because I'm constantly in my zone of genius, progressive realization of a worthy ideal, ideal, constantly. So I'm actually less bored than a human. Most visionaries are very bored because they're shiny object. I'm not like that. So the difference between me and most visionaries, and what you said was really smart, most visionaries are off in the future. They have a very hard time activating in the present. They have a very hard time because they're living in the future, shiny object. I am very low in futuristic, very low in ideation. But my top 5 strength finders, Gallup Clifton strength finders, are activate, maximize, achieve, competition, responsibility. So result. And then talking to futuristic ideators, who have a mix of activator, maximizer, achiever, which Brackman is. I'm sure Alex has to be a futuristic ideator with a activator, maximizer, achiever. He has to be. So they're like blah 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 blah, and I'm like, simplify, go, simplify, connect, simplify, connect. It's just perfect. It's like ADHD meets minor Asperger's. It's like, but it's a non-human connecting with a non-human. That's really what it is.
Yeah,
that's so interesting.
How I'm assuming you have a team, right? So can you walk us through like how you go out and find the people that complement you? Or the people.
I don't find anyone; they find me. One of the chapters in the Epic Life book is find how to find your Babs or have your Babs find you. So Babs is Babs Smith. She's the co-founder of Strategic Coach. Dan Sullivan's the co-founder, the husband and wife team. And then without Babs, there's no company. It would be Dan's the one of the greatest, if not the greatest, entrepreneurial coach of all time. But without Babs, there's no company, there's no employees. It's a disaster. So I was talking to Dan during Abundance 360. That's another incredible entrepreneur group. And then Dr. Peter Diamandis, who runs that, he's top futurist in the world, one of them. He wrote the foreword for Epic Life. I'm very grateful for that. But I was talking to Dan. I'm like, I need to find my Babs for second company. He's like, no, the trick is have your Babs find you. I'm like, that's a good idea. I'll do that. And so Strategic Coach has a tool called the Impact Filter. I filled one of those out and then started sending out to some of my friends who I trusted. And one of them is Mark Fujiwara, and he's in San Francisco. I'm in Chicago. We've met twice in person. Yeah. And so we built LinkedIn without the BS, and he's full backstage. He's the one that builds the team. I'm not. I would electrocute myself if I tried to do that. I just stay out of it completely.
Yeah. No, I love it. You're hearing all these great partnerships, right? Is that combo and in our journey, like I personally don't think that we've found our Beth in a sense, right? We've developed some skills, but they're not where they need to be, and we're at the stage where we recognize we're like, maybe like you said, like either it is or it's not, and we need to find that person that can continue on the journey with us, and I think this conversation has been very enlightening to see that, right? And understand a little bit better.
I've been thinking about this now for quite a few minutes now, right? You're passed as a journalist, and I'm guessing it's because of the follow through. But what kept you there so long before making a jump into doing your own thing?
Well, success is the progressive realization of worthy ideal, and then my worthy ideal is to be connecting superhero for every visionary who shares their stories with the world. So I was always doing that. There was no just
just for somebody else.
So
got it.
Yeah, and then had job salary cut in half. Couldn't find a job. Reached out, incorporated with zero business background. Again, you either can do that or you can't. There's no I want to do this. No, I just did it. And then so I was working full time at half salary. Reached out to 5,000 people to find first 5 clients. Most people can't do that. If they could do that, they would do that, but they're not wired like that.
Yeah.
I was wired like that before I was born. Would you like me to explain what that means?
Sure. Like, can I share a quick story before you do that? Because I relate to this. Like, where our background, we played soccer all our life. That was our sport. That was our dream growing up. And, we played every single day, every afternoon, every weekend. That was the thing. And we ended up playing in Europe. And then because of political situations, different things, ended up trying to figure out a way out of our home country, which is Venezuela. And we cold emailed 300 coaches, each one of us with our video. We're like, there's no option. We have to go. Like,
whatever.
It has to happen. And every time we share this story in either other interviews or with people that their shock phase is very interesting to me, because for us was like, that's the path. We need to get in contact with every single person.
Not shocked at all. No. What are you talking about? That's not shocking to me at all.
Exactly. So I love that, right? And with that background, we've done a lot of it with our show. Our show too, same thing. 400 episodes, amazing relationships, and everything has grown from taking that action. And I'm very comforted to listen to you and having this conversation, because it shows that we're on the right path. And so anyway, so that's the background on us. And yes, of course, I would love for you to continue to explain and dive a little bit more into the 5,000 to 5 concept.
I mean, 300 for one. There's no, I mean,
300?
again, like people, I don't understand. 300. Oh, okay. Yeah. So both of our sons are really good. I'll just say football to be a relator. Football, soccer players. Oh, by the way, I'm going to the Manchester City Chelsea game on Sunday, and Manchester City could clinch the
title. Yeah,
I know.
Premier League. It's going to be great. And one of my entrepreneur buddies is like got incredible tickets, and I've never been to a Premier League game. So I'm really excited.
That is an amazing first
That's
experience.
Gonna be insane.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good one to go to. Can you imagine? I'll never go again. And then both my kids like Holland, the player, not and Holland is my favorite soccer team. But
oh man, I'm an Arsenal fan, so I'm heartbroken because we dropped the ball this season against Man City.
Yes.
Dropped the ball literally. Whoops.
Yeah.
Tough loss.
It's okay.
We'll date this. That was a bad loss, and they could lose to Nottingham Forest. They could.
Hey, I mean, they're second place already. If I don't think the City would have to lose everything, which is not going to happen. So it's second place.
That is not going to happen.
And, I'm still positive. Good season.
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, you'll still be, your top 4. But okay, so the distracted, right? Okay, so now we lost. Okay, my favorite is the wrong word here, but my favorite PR partner story, and again, favorite is the wrong word, but so the guy, entrepreneur, he grew up in Burma. His grandfather was decapitated in front of him when he was a child. He moved to Hong Kong with his dad when he was like 10 with $10 in their pocket. They created 2 8-figure businesses, and then they hired my PR firm. He created an at-home robot with like a drone and a pill dispenser to help people with Alzheimer's and dementia, because his mom has Alzheimer's and dementia. So you're either someone like that or you're not.
Wow.
So Venezuela, okay. I mean, all right. It's and then okay. So what did I mean by that other stuff? So my dad was 61 when I was born. My mom was 27, 34-year difference. My dad came from nothing. His parents escaped the pogroms of Russia, escaped mass execution. They came to the U.S. speaking no English, came here with nothing. My father, World War II hero, shot down multiple times in combat, many times without a parachute, got back into a plane. I found the diary that he wrote. He'd be 107 now, 107. So he was born in 1916. So I found his diary from Battle of Hurtgen Forest toward the end of World War II that he wrote. I found it after he died, and it just gets more and more horrific every single day. How he survived that it's amazing. Yeah. So that, and then he became attorney in Nazi war crime trial, Nuremberg trials. Okay, so that's my dad. And then when he was in his late 50s, a drunk driver hit him. My dad broke every bone in his body but survived. Drunk driver was killed instantly. And then my mom was his nurse. My dad woke up, thought he was dead, and thought my mom was an angel, but it was my mom. And then most of my day, my mom's still alive. Grateful for that. Happy Mother's Day.
Yeah.
And then, so most of my days talking to people like us. I've never met anyone with more hustle than my mom ever. So, I mean, that's what I mean. I was this person before I was born. So.
Amazing.
Interesting.
Thank you for sharing that story.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
This is very interesting, right? Like there's some things. Okay, so you say we're these people before we are even born.
100%.
And then
most people wouldn't leave Venezuela and go figure out they wouldn't do that. they would stay in Venezuela, which is why Venezuela is in the situation that.
Right.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
right. It's because it's people that you talk about the hunter brain. You're a hunter brain. Most brains are farmer brains. That's what Brackman talks about. I just ignore farmer brains because they're going to stay in Venezuela with a dictatorship. I mean, I don't.
Yeah.
So now I'm curious, right? There's this whole, not movement, but it's, I don't even know what the actual name of the movement is, but it's like where people are talking about like all these things that they took from their parents, right? So like you say, they hustle, like your mom, she hustled, like your dad was, you know, a warrior pretty much. So like you got all those attributes and you have been using those throughout your life. Now, a lot of people are now, let's say, identifying this, and some people might call it like childhood trauma, right? That they got from their parents, and they're like, all right, I'm trying to work through that to change it. So when you're telling me like you're born with this or not, like there's no possibility in your brain that somebody can work that stuff out. Maybe they were raised from parents that didn't have the attributes to be a visionary, right? But they were born.
No, that's most humans. So again, okay. Thank you for all this context. I appreciate it. So this is what separates entrepreneurs, not business owners, not consultants, not humans. Pure visionary entrepreneur. Okay, this is what separates them from everyone else. And I don't talk to everyone else because it's a pointless conversation into nothing. I've had those conversations for most of my life, and it doesn't lead to anything except finding the right people who actually. Okay, so all right, so. Here are the 4 things, because my brain simplifies everything into patterns. Here are the 4 things. I have not met one of those people that hasn't overcome at least one of the following 4 things. Everyone I talk to now in the last 2 years is 3s and 4s. Most are all 4s. So here are the 4 things. Bankruptcy or you guys can just check these off when I say them, because you're probably both all 4. So 1, bankruptcy or potential bankruptcy. 2, depression. 3, highest level of anxiety you can imagine. 4, likely and or possible traumatic experiences as a child or young adult. So for humans, farmer brain, consultant, business owners, those are excuses. Entrepreneur, visionary at highest global level, figure it out. That's it. That's entrepreneur life.
Interesting.
Do you want to walk through this?
I mean, I've seen the patterns, right? I personally don't think I've had maybe number 4, the traumatic event. I do see my brother had a pretty harsh traumatic event back in Venezuela. I lived it through him, you know. I was sleeping on the couch when he came in the house. My dad was screaming like, what were you thinking about, right? And turns out he had driven outside.
You're definitely in all 4.
Yeah, he had driven outside the neighborhood, and you know, this Venezuela is not the most secure country, and these people came out of their cars, guns in their head, and they took him, steal the car, took him for a ride for a little bit, and then drop him in the middle of the street, right? Interesting. And I think
that's entrepreneur life.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely a lot to look at and like see the patterns. I know we're getting here a little bit towards the end, and there's so much I want to talk to you about, but this is maybe not that related. Actually, I think it's 100% related, because I heard you say 100% of your day is doing what you love, right? And then I found out that you have, I don't know if this was like a project or what, but I thought it was super cool. 52 dates, 52 weeks, right? You went 52 dates with your wife for 52 weeks, no kids, right? And it got picked up by news too. Was that? So I'm curious, right? Like, I feel like people have a sense that visionaries have to be 100% in the hustle, in the grind of like doing all these things, but like you're talking about 100% of your day doing the things that you love, and then, you know, obviously you have so much time with your family. Your social media is like, I'll argue like 70% of it is like you highlighting your family, right? Spending time with your family.
Why wouldn't you do that? Why would you not do that? It's illogical to me. So,
I agree.
The value of being a journalist. Right. I don't see the argument against. It's funny because so entrepreneurs are most damaged people with best coping skills. That's what a true entrepreneur is. True entrepreneur. And then again, I see the pattern. So they use those coping skills to create all this stuff, and then they torch their family or never have a family or don't do anything meaningful because of that. So that's what I see. And then I was a journalist for 20 years. You don't get into that for employee count, revenue. I don't care about any of that stuff. It's totally meaningless to me. So I was always this person. And then that's why I wrote Epic Life, because it's how to build collaborative global companies while putting your loved ones first. Wow, that's a good idea. Why wouldn't you do that?
Yeah.
So I think that's the message people like us want. They just don't know how to do it because they're the most damaged people with the best coping skills, and they've used those coping skills to create all this stuff and then torch the meaning during that process.
Yeah.
Interesting. And the solution is finding Babs. Is that the solution for some of these people?
Wow, that is such a good. So one, wow, that was a great simplification. I don't usually stop like that, but that was really good. So there's two reasons why that was good. One, in work, yes, finding Babs or have your Babs find you, absolutely. Two, at home, marry a stabilizing human. For the most part, marry a stabilizing human.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm writing all those for mine too. I don't. We need. It's funny because
after this.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting because some people, I feel like they might see us as one of us is the Bab, but I think we merge. I think like our two personalities like
Take your
merge.
Colbys and you'll know. Take your Colbys and you'll know.
Well, yeah, I think that's action plan for everybody listening to this today and us is go take the test. And I'm going through this conversation, Justin, and I find comfort, right? Like in a sense, because like from very little to like you're trying. In my head, I'm going through these episodes that has happened, things that you have described, that you've mentioned, and I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I felt very confused. I felt like I don't fit. I feel like I need to adapt to the room, and there's other.
Trying to be a human. You're not a human.
And then there's other moments. These have been in the last 3 years since like this company, this podcast became a thing where we are more conscious of these moments and we're actually in control. And I don't want to be here. I don't want to have this conversation. We're actually going to go and have the conversations and do the things that we want and love to do. And I'm going through this, like my wife, Katie, bless her heart, she's the home stabilizing human, right? Like that's her, right? She's a pharmacist. She keeps us all grounded.
Perfect. Great.
And I'm like,
awesome. Wonderful.
And I'm like halfway there, right? And then I think in our own business is finding the bad, but I love all this, and these are the traits, and I'm sure like somebody listening to this today or watching it are gonna be going through the same process. And I'm so glad and so grateful that we've connected with you, and then you can bring this message to those like us that are in that stage to find out and be like, it just is like, this is who I am and it's okay, and we're gonna lean into that and continue to make changes and meet people like Justin. So I really appreciate you coming on, man, and sharing all this message. I'm very glad that we're connected.
Congrats on marrying a human.
Thank you. I'm gonna clip this and send it to her. Be like, babe, here we go.
She's a low quick start, high follow through, high fact finder. Give her a office or a cubicle and some medicine bottles. She'll be fine.
She's amazing. Yes, 100%.
Perfect. Wonderful.
I at the beginning of the conversation said this could go two ways, right? Media or unpacking you as an entrepreneur, visionary.
I don't even know what PR firms do. They just annoyed me. I didn't hate talking about that stuff. It's annoying to me.
That's great.
And for those wondering,
we picked the right path.
What Justin here can do for you, if you go to his website, brepicllc.com, he actually has kind of like his process laid on in there. It's a 4-step process.
Oh, it's everything there.
Yeah.
Everything. The only thing that's not there is the investment, because I keep raising it because that weeds out people that ask what is the because I'd rather not deal with that. So it's fun.
Yeah. I mean, and again, that goes back to what you were talking about, the 3 attributes of people you wanted to talk about, right? Abundance, visionary, 100%. And investment, right? They see that.
Yeah. So if someone asks what are the prices on there, then that's a see you later.
Right. Interesting.
I just wanted to say that because then I don't want people to ask that. It's annoying to me.
Makes sense. And I think you move inside of the groups, right? Strategic coach, Abundance 360. You move inside of the groups already have the people with this profile, right? These attributes.
100%, yeah, because they make big investments to be in those rooms. 100%.
Yeah, they being in those specific like networks. I'm curious.
Yes.
Or like a big percentage of your clients.
Groups are each. One, they're partners because I mean, they introduced me to as many people as I introduced to them, and But to land the plane, those groups are both 25K US a year each. I'd easily invest, in fact, about to invest 50K a year each because, again, simplifying the patterns. I just keep making bigger investments to be in smaller rooms, but the people in those rooms are making bigger impacts. So bigger investment, smaller room, bigger impact. That allows me to spend biggest investment, biggest check in smallest room, which is my family where I can make the most impact. So it's the same formula, but you don't overthink it. You just write the check.
I love it.
Awesome.
I think that's a good thought here for those that are wondering potentially where to make their next investment if they're looking for some growth. We've experienced some of that actually. Our very first big investment was a $20,000 investment, money that personally we did not have, right?
We found a way.
But we found a way.
It's just this.
I need to say something because this is important to validate what you said. So in 6 years as an entrepreneur, we've had 2 billionaires, multiple gajillionaires, multimillionaires, millionaires that have been PR partners. We've had 8 people, and they're not people, they're aliens, but 8 who have been dirt broke that just found a way. Like, okay, don't make an excuse with I don't want to hear an excuse. So what you said is very profound, and that's an actionable thing. And that's why you're here, why you're at where you're at, because you didn't make an excuse.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Thank you, Justin.
Yeah, like my brother said, it's comforting, man. I'm not gonna lie, it's oddly comforting talking to you, man. We're gonna have to bring you over to the podcast.
It's oddly comforting. You're just talking to the wrong people. That's why. If I don't talk to someone where it's not comforting, I stop talking to them. Period.
Makes sense.
Well, we feel honored. We feel honored that we've had this conversation for this. Justin, I just want to say thank you. Is there anything else that you want to add before we head out?
Nope.
Awesome. Fonzie, is there anything else you want to?
Just thank you, Justin. I appreciate you. And then we might be bringing you again, sometime, and we'll just keep chatting. This has been amazing.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Justin. All right. With that said, guys, thank you so much for tuning to the Content is Profit podcast. Go ahead and follow the show in your favorite podcasting platform and on social media at BIZBROS Co.
That is Ryan and Justin here, help you move one step closer towards your goal. Please don't forget to share this episode and leave a 5-star review. See ya.
Bye, guys.
All right. That was good.